Hello, travelers. Welcome to the Copper Fox Inn. Come on in, take a seat, and join us as we discuss Homebrew for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. My name is Thomas the Human Bard, and I am joined today by...
Mercy the Tiefling Wizard.
Onog the Half-Orc Barbarian.
And that's it.
That's it today. You said that Onog turns to the booth to his left, and there's no one there.
It's
empty
chairs and empty tables.
Do you see someone there, Onog? Is Bean in the room with us now?
No, Bean is not in the room with us now. Bean is at the International Gnome Woodworking Convention.
Mercy has just returned from an extended stay in Baldur's Gate, I believe.
Yeah. It was a whole thing. I fell deeply, deeply in love with a vampire. It was a whole thing.
Yeah. I heard all about this guy.
That sounds real dumb. Maybe you should have fallen in love with like a tiefling who could crush your head between their thighs like Sparrow's egg.
I mean, I thought about it. Let me tell you, I thought about it.
Perhaps in another life.
In another life, yes.
In another life.
On this episode of the Copper Fox Inn, we will be discussing a subclass for the Artificer, D&D's most overlooked, technically official class.
The secret third thing of D&D classes. Do you think they'll put it in the player's handbook for the D&D to rule them all?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
We'll see. Perhaps.
I don't think so.
I don't know if it's got enough sort of user interest to be included or not. Because I know some people like it. Like, there's nothing technically wrong with it, but it's just not of all of the data that they get on how many characters of what classes get created, like, it's Human Fighter, number one. I bet Artificer's at the very bottom. But for this episode, we'll be discussing the Confectioner subclass made by user Gravy Brown, posted to r/Unearthed Arcana on Reddit. The Confectioner, the subheading being 1 part reworked alchemist, 1 part dumb bullshit. And I can appreciate that.
We appreciate on this podcast random bullshit go.
Yes, 100%.
We do appreciate that.
Let's get into it here. Mercy, do you want to start us off?
Absolutely. Artificer Specialist, the Confectioner! The Confectioner, the whimsical master of creating enchanting and delectable treats. These ingenious artificers wield their culinary prowess to craft magical confections that bewitch the senses and provide mystical benefits. Their sweets, such as the famed Wonka Bar.
Yeah.
I'm King Candy! And Everlasting Gobstopper
We've
are
blown
more.
up the mic 5 times already.
Are more than just sugary delights.
No, you have to keep it up. You just back away a little bit. Just pull away a little.
They bestow unique effects upon those who indulge.
So this is explicit. It is just.
It's just Willy Wonka.
It is just Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
It's not like Wonka-esque. It is.
Don't worry about it. We'll get there.
It is. It can be sued by the Wonka company.
100%. Roald Dahl can kill you for using this.
With a dash of creativity and a pinch of wonder, the Confectioner transforms the act of snacking into an art form, crafting an extraordinary fusion of magic and merriment.
It started King Candy, and it sort of ended like the mom from Pride and Prejudice.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's where we kind of.
Which I feel like those two things combined is what someone would think Willy Wonka was, but never what Willy Wonka actually is.
Mm-hmm.
I should have been doing a Timothée Chalamet voice.
Absolutely not.
No. Confectioner spells. Starting at 3rd level, you always have certain spells prepared after you reach particular levels in this class, as shown in the Confectioner spells table. These spells count as Artificer spells for you, but they don't count against the number of Artificer spells you prepare. They're a bunch of spells. It's not.
I would like to point out that Crown of Madness is one of them.
Don't worry about it. Incite
Candy's
greed.
so good it got me killing my friends.
Phantasmal killer, normal candy spells.
How candy works. Hallucinatory terrain.
We've got a box text here, whimsical magic. It is encouraged after a discussion with your DM to reflavor these and any other spells you like to embody the whimsy and imaginative nature of the confectioner. For example,
flavor.
Nice. For example, hypnotic pattern could be reflavored to create an illusory wall in a 30-foot radius around the target point. The wall could be colorful. The wall could be covered in colorful fruit-patterned wallpaper that compels affected creatures to lick it.
Mm-hmm.
Could.
You could do that.
You could do that.
You could always do that.
I don't know
I
why.
didn't need your permission nor desire to do that.
Confectioner's Sweets. Beginning at 3rd level, whenever you finish a long rest, you can magically produce a Confectioner's Sweet. When you do so, choose from the sweets on the Confectioner's Sweets table. A sweets effect is triggered when someone consumes the sweet. As an action, a creature can consume the sweet or administer it to an incapacitated creature. Additionally, you gain proficiency in cooking utensils. Creating a confectioner's sweet requires you to have your cooking utensils on your person, and any sweet you create with this feature lasts until it is consumed or until the end of your next long rest. Each creature that consumes a sweet must roll a d20 after consumption, as there is a chance of unexpected side effects. On a roll of 1 or 2, roll a d8 and apply the result from the whimsical mishap table.
Whimsical mishap table. Oh, that's good.
You can create a number of confectioner's sweets per day equal to your proficiency bonus. So this is actually a pretty traditional homebrew mechanic of every long rest, you create a thing, it lasts till your next long rest, you get a number of them equal to your proficiency bonus.
Sometimes
you see this,
it's candy.
Yeah, you see this with a lot of homebrew when they want you to have some sort of a limited use, limited resource thing. And it's like, this can be pretty powerful because, look, you only get them for the day and then they go away and then you have to make more of them. So
well, and it's very evocative. Yeah, it's very evocative of like the artificers, like contraptions they can make in certain subclasses and stuff like that. So
let's see. We've got on the confectioner's table, Wonka bar. The eater gains a number of hit points equal to 2d4 plus your intelligence modifier. The hit dice rolled increases to 2d6 at 9th level and 2d8 at 15th level. So a little mini health potion there.
I mean, I would argue almost strictly better health potions at certain points.
Every single day, a few, you can make a couple of them. Everlasting Gobstopper. The eater gains a +1 bonus to their AC and has advantage on death saving throws for 10 minutes.
Sick.
Nice. I didn't know that's what Gobstoppers did.
Is the 10 minutes applicable to both halves of this or just the second half of the sentence?
They get
a +1 bonus for 10 minutes, or is it...
I think it is both. Okay. I think it is both. Because otherwise, technically, then you could eternally continue eating everlasting Gobstoppers.
Right.
Raising your AC forever. That's why they're everlasting.
I mean, that would be on flavor, once again.
Fizzy lifting drink. The drinker gains a flying speed of 20 feet for 10 minutes. Understandable.
That's dangerous.
3-course meal gum. Chewing the gum grants you resistance to poison and advantage on all wisdom saving throws for 10 minutes. Additionally, the chewer gains temporary hit points equal to your intelligence modifier.
See, I feel like that one should have increased your model size.
You grow, yeah.
Or maybe that's one of the mishaps. But yeah, okay.
Luminous Lollipop. The lollipop emits bright light for 20 feet and dim light for another 10 feet. As an action, you can eat the lollipop and cause a burst of light. All targets in a 10-foot radius must succeed on a con save against your spell save DC, or be blinded until the end of their next turn.
So it's like when you bite a wintergreen lifesaver and it like sparks.
In pure darkness, it makes light.
When it says all targets, it doesn't necessarily say that you get to choose the targets.
Yeah, I mean, the wording might be a little bit non-traditional. I think it's just all creatures.
But I was trying to figure out if exploding a beam of light in your mouth blinded you too, you know?
I don't.
I couldn't see why it wouldn't, but yeah.
Coco Chameleon, which I did read as Coco Melon the first time. The eater's body is transformed as if by the alter self spell. The eater determines the transformation caused by the spell, the effects of which last for 10 minutes.
All right.
Nice.
Now let's see what happens when we go on that whimsical mishap table.
Oh boy.
When a sweet you've created is used, the creature who has consumed the sweet must roll a d20. On a roll of 1 or 2, they trigger a whimsical mishap, and must roll a d8 and apply the effect from the whimsical mishap table below. I keep wanting to say whimsical mishap. I think it's just
I feel like
funnier.
Wonka would approve of that.
Yeah, that's just more whimsical.
It's extra whimsical.
Let's see, there are 8 options on the table here. If you roll a 1,
Oh, you roll a d20 to see if you do. I was like, why do you roll a d20 if there's only 8 options? You roll a d8 later. Okay.
yeah. You roll the d20 to see if you get one of these mishaps, and then you're going to choose it with the d8. So you got Sugar Crash. The consumer experiences a sudden crash in energy, gaining 1 level of exhaustion
Oh, no.
for 10 minutes.
Oh, for 10 minutes. Okay.
It's okay. We're good.
I was like, what? Whoa.
Inflatable Overload. The consumer swells rapidly, reducing their movement speed by half for 10 minutes.
Because they can
Okay.
only
Because they've become
roll
a
gently.
blueberry.
Yeah.
Shrinking Spell. The consumer shrinks to a size of tiny, is unable to carry heavy items, and suffers a -2 penalty to strength checks for 10 minutes.
Oof.
Entitled Brat. The consumer becomes an entitled brat,
I
suffering
feel like this happened before the candy. I don't know.
suffering disadvantage on all charisma ability checks for 10 minutes.
That's very funny.
But I want the whole world.
Gloop Gluttony. The consumer becomes insatiable and obsessed with finding food. For the next minute, the consumer must succeed on a DC 10 concentration check before all attacks, or spend its action searching for treats instead.
What happens if it finds the treats, though?
It devours them.
It can't. No, you only use this action to search. It never. Always searching, never eating.
Never eat.
Oh, that's so sad. Like Despacito.
Chocolate everywhere, and not a drop to drink. Uncontrollable lifting. The consumer experiences uncontrollable bursts of levitation, causing them to float straight upwards to a height of 100 feet, at which point they cease to float and fall back down. A dex saving throw can be made at a difficulty of the DM's choosing to grab hold of something.
That's like the reverse gravity spell, which is a very good spell.
Very
Like that's a
high-level,
high
powerful
level
spell,
combat spell.
Yeah, you gotta watch
But
that one.
it's very, very, very wild magic of. Yeah, this is absolutely the wild magic artificer, where it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, sometimes I turn our enemy into a potted plant, and sometimes I cast fireball on myself.
You never know. Gobstopper Lockjaw. The consumer's jaw locks up, making it challenging to speak, cast spells, or eat for the next minute. Casting spells with a verbal component requires a successful DC 10 concentration check to cast. On a failure, no spell slot is expended, but the action is lost. You can waste your turn. And finally, Wonka Vision Distortion. The consumer experiences a temporary visual distortion, giving them disadvantage on perception and investigation checks for 10 minutes.
Interesting. So there is exactly one of these that if you are using a specific treat can actually be a benefit. Because if you get, ironically enough, if you get uncontrollable lifting with fizzy lifting drinks, if you have a fly speed nothing has knocked you prone, you don't fall.
Yeah, you can't fall. Yeah.
So the uncontrollable lifting will just lift you up 100 feet, which if you want a fly, if you're going for a fly speed on purpose, will actually benefit you. But all of the others are like strictly
pretty
downgrades.
Yeah. I mean, not all of them will end up mattering in that specific moment, right? Like disadvantage on charisma ability checks might not matter in combat or something like that, but
exactly.
Yeah.
But that being said, uncontrollable lifting, if you aren't doing it with a fizzy lifting drink, if that happens on like say a Wonka bar, that is 10d6 of fall damage that happens at you.
I really like chaos mechanics in games in general. Like, I love wild magic. I like all that stuff. I think it is more fun when things can go wildly wrong in dramatic ways. And so I really like that some of these could be absolutely devastating because it doesn't feel like Willy Wonka if you might not die. Like, it's not
Well,
Charlie's
I mean,
Chocolate
if you
Factory.
might suffer the hubris of your own choices.
If there is not great risk that the crime of a child wanting to eat candy might be punished with death. Like, that is essential, I think, to getting the experience.
So an important element of the alchemist class is infusions.
You mean Artificer?
Of the artificer class is infusions.
Right.
Infusions are effects that you gain that you can sometimes you can like put them on magic items, or, like it's a whole thing. It's a whole inner class mechanic that can function in a variety of ways. This next ability modifies one of your infusions a little bit. The Oompa Loompa Homunculus. Starting at 5th level, your
Oh, no, wait, no.
Starting at 5th level, your confectionery expertise allows you to access a special version of the homunculus servant infusion. This
I don't know how I feel about
Loompa
this.
homunculus does not count against the total number of infusions you know, and you can create it as part of a long rest. We then get the stat block for the Oompa Loompa homunculus.
Oh, it's so nice to know they're lawful neutral.
Yeah, lawful
my
neutral.
goodness.
I mean, you can check the stats on screen, Traveler, if you're interested. The one I found the most interesting, though, was the distracting dance action. The Oompa Loompa begins an entrancing performance that lasts until the start of its next turn. Any creatures within 5 feet of the Oompa Loompa must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC, or be distracted until the end of the performance.
Or learn a valuable life lesson.
On a failed save, all attacks the creature makes against a target other than the Oompa Loompa are made at disadvantage until the end of the performance.
Oh, so it's gonna try to kill the
There's
Oompa
only
Loompa.
one way to free
Yeah.
yourself from the dance of the Oompa Loompa.
No.
To murder the Oompa Loompa.
I don't remember that. Maybe that was is that in the Johnny Depp version?
I
don't
gotta
remember
say,
that part.
the Timothy Chalamet Wonka, it looks like a real train wreck, but the Hugh Grant Oompa Loompa is truly like a lightning in a bottle casting that I'm somewhat excited to see, like clips of online. I will refuse to go see it at theaters.
Absolutely, yes.
When you reach certain levels in this class, you can create additional Oompa Loompas at the end of
No!
a long rest. 2 at
No!
9th level and 3 at 15th level.
No more!
Swarm of Oompa Loompa.
I cast Form of Oompa Loompa.
I was just going over to my head and I was like, well, but shouldn't there be some sort of chance for, like, if the dance is successful, then the enemy is charmed until such and such time because they've learned a life lesson? But thinking back to it, nobody does ever learn a life. Like,
No, they die.
don't. They just get
They just die.
get murdered. So
Yeah.
actually, no, yeah.
It's actually
yeah.
valid. Wonka Vision Teleportation.
Oh, no.
At 9th level, your mastery of magical confections extends to the creation of whimsical devices. On a short or long rest, you can create 2 small contraptions known as Wonka Vision transponders. 2 creatures holding transponders and within 60 feet of each other can choose to swap places. When one of the creatures activates their transponder, the creatures swap, reappearing at each other's locations in a puff of smoke. This magical teleportation is instantaneous and does not provoke opportunity attacks. Wonka Vision transponders created by this feature last until used or until the end of a long rest and then vanish in a burst of candy-scented smoke.
Okay, so they're like a one-time switcheroo.
You make them in the morning, you get them once during the day, and then you have to wait till the next day to make them again. But they're just a free insta-swap as long as you're within 60 feet of each other, which, you know, most battlefields in most D&D games feature on like a grid that is probably you're not further than 60 feet away from each other. It's pretty unlikely.
So in a blank void, this becomes the Oompa Loompa get down, Mr. President machine.
you
just
hand one
switch
to
with
one
the
of your
Oompa
Oompa Loompas and you say, if I am about to die, we will swap. When they launch the
Oompa Loompa
fireball spell
dives
at me.
head first into the blade of the axe to protect you.
Yes, precisely. I like, though, it is it's somewhat similar to a couple other random abilities from other classes, but I like that it's very modular, or not modular, but dynamic, that you can anyone can
change
hold
who
them.
has it. Yeah. It's
you
not
can have
you
one,
and- yeah.
you can give it to 2 other people, like you can make it whatever makes the most sense for your party in that moment, which I do like. And our final ability, the Golden Ticket. At 15th level, you are hailed far and wide as a master of the confectionery arts. You can now cast the spell Magnificent Mansion once per day without expending a spell slot. When
A child does have to die if people enter the mansion, though.
One sacrificial child required. When
That is
cast
the material component.
Yeah. That must be consumed by the spell.
When cast this way, the spell functions as per the normal rules of Magnificent Mansion, but the mansion you create with this spell is not an ordinary mansion, but your very own chocolate factory.
We're hijacking the vibes.
Filled with whimsical candy-making machines, a flowing river of chocolate, and a bustling team of Oompa Loompas. The Chocolate Factory operates as a self-contained, functional confectionery wonderland. Any creature that takes a long rest within the factory is inspired by its whimsical and imaginative nature. For the next 24 hours, they can roll a d8 and add the roll to a bonus to one ability check, attack roll, or saving throw they make.
Oh, so they got a little pseudo-inspiration.
Nice, yeah.
That's nice.
Additionally, thanks to the assistance from your Oompa Loompa staff, if you take a long rest...
Who are a part of your soul if they are homunculus.
If you take a long rest inside of the Chocolate Factory, any confectioner's sweets you create during the rest yield one extra sweet of the same variety. So you can, make twice the amount of sweets.
Okay.
There you go. You invite everyone in to your Magnificent Mansion Chocolate Factory.
You can give them extra candy, and they get a little inspiration, and also all of the benefits of a magnificent mansion.
The two
Not bad.
things that I remember being the most scared of in media as a small child were the previews for the movie Beetlejuice, which as a small child I assumed was just an actual horror
True
movie.
horror movie.
Yeah, because I remember the preview saying, "Be very afraid. Be very,
So you-
very,
you
very,
as an
very, very." I was
impressionable-
like, "Oh, that's so afraid." Okay, I'll
You as an impressionable young child obeyed the voiceover.
I was like, I will be very, 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 very afraid. It's a delightful movie. I did not watch it till I was an adult when I discovered it was in fact a comedy. But the other thing was the messed up, horrible sequence in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory where they go through the tunnel and there's the centipede crawling on people's faces.
Oh, yeah.
And he's
Classic.
like,
we were all
"There's no
traumatized. We all know.
knowing where-" What?
yeah, we
What
all
was
found
that?
We've all
That's
seen
why
the
there's-
Tide Knife.
That's why there's the bug allowances in all of American candy factories, because they all have to have a centipede tunnel.
I hate it so much. I hate it so much. I still hate that sequence. I had nightmares about that sequence.
I love that it's like a lot of what people and to this creator's credit, they absolutely got the mild horror aspects of Willy Wonka on point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because especially with the most recent trailers for the new Wonka movie, it always looks like this is what people think Willy Wonka is when they saw the trailers for the first 1970s Willy Wonka movie, but they didn't actually watch the movie, because the movie is a cavalcade of whimsy interspersed with absolute negligence
Body
of children
horror.
and a body horror. Yeah, people are crushed, sucked through tubes. People are sent through the centipede tunnel. There's a lot of just weird stuff going on that is not funny.
No.
I mean, it is funny, but if it were happening to you, and there's even the Wonka Wash section is horrifying because of the way the mom of the one kid is acting. She's screaming in agony the whole time, as they're getting covered in soap.
You're right.
And it's what's happening?
And an incredibly important element of Gene Wilder's performance is that while he has that, bright facade, his mercurial nature is obvious, and there is a spark in his eye that shows he has
true
killed children
madness.
and will kill again. That is The Confectioner by Gravy Brown. Thank you so much for your work on this. I think that there's a lot of interesting whimsy in here. I'm always a fan of make it during a long rest, use it during the day. abilities, and I think that these confectioner's treats,
Smoke them while you got them abilities.
yeah. I think that these allow for a good variety of gameplay
Yeah.
choices where during the morning you're like, okay, what are we gonna need today? I'm gonna make 2 cocoa chameleons, 1 fizzy lifting drink. Like, you know, you gotta
Everybody popping a gobstopper. Let's go.
quick, everyone, pop one in.
How do you feel about the odds? It's a 1 in 10 chance of having a whimsical mishap. Do you feel like that's about right? Would you want that to be more or less likely?
I mean, I think that's fair. It's a little
it's-
weird
yeah.
that it is not just on a natural 1. It's on a 1 or a 2. It's just
I like it being more common, though.
well, yeah, but it's just because that's not how it's normally formatted in
Right,
D&D. But there's nothing against doing it that way. It's just
I think-
unusual.
I think that if they were to receive my critique, which nobody asked for, but I think if it's at the current state, I would like some of the mishaps to be potentially beneficial. But if if the mishaps are not going to be beneficial, then I feel like some of the confections need to be slightly stronger.
Well, okay, I was wondering if on inflatable overload, if the consumer swells rapidly, what if you become a size larger?
What if you increase a size larger?
Yeah.
It's like I feel like if we reworked it so that in some situations they're beneficial, but in most situations they're not beneficial,
Yeah.
then like I think we're at like a perfect mix.
If they could, or if they could each have potential ups and downs to them, where like Sugar Crash could be like, you can take 1 additional action this turn, but then you gain a level of
Oh,
exhaustion.
like you have haste for this
Yeah.
turn, but then you have a level of exhaustion.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, where like, oh, you got a little fun extra bit, but also there's a big downside to it of some sort. Or it's just a sort of neutral, like, you know,
Where it's like,
an
you
explosion
really-
occurs around you. That could be positive or negative depending on the circumstance.
Yeah,
Right.
you really don't want these happening to you, but if they do happen to you, you can make the best of a bad situation kind of scenario. Because for some of them, it's just like, no, you
Right.
just take 10d6 damage, and it's like, at 9th level, that will kill this Artificer if they're not, like, heavily invested in Constitution, you know? Like, that will just kill somebody.
It is a funny image in my head to be like, one of my artificers has like Iron Man armor and a magic hammer, and the other one's Gene Wilder.
The other one's just got a gumball machine. Just, here you go.
He's got a gumball machine, but it's like a paintball gun, like it's a hopper attached to like, he's like shooting out gumballs fully automatic.
Amazing. The flavor.
All right, travelers, tell us your thoughts on the Confectioner. Comment below. What do you think of the class? How would you try and translate the madness and the whimsy and the mania of Willy Wonka into a D&D subclass? If you enjoyed the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Is Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory just a...
You're interrupting the outro for this.
Is it just an edible saw trap?
It is basically Saw for children.
Yeah. Go on.
Subscribe to the channel because you never know when we're going to post. The only way you'll catch it is if you're subscried. So
Yeah,
you have
there's
to
no
subscribe.
way of knowing.
There's no knowing where we're going. Okay.
The YouTubers keep on tubing.
Get out of here.
You can send us a homebrew at our email, copperfoxin@gmail.com, or on social media at thecopperfoxin. And that's it for this episode. Until next time, keep on adventuring.
Bye.
Bye.
Come with me, and you'll be...